Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show this evening. Today's guest, we have a special. Brother did 27 years confined to the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. He's been home a short period of time. We want to bring him on and allow him to let society, let the community know who he is, what he's doing, and what his future goals are. We're going to bring on Mubashir Gregory Mitchell out of Stockton, California. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Alhamdulillah. Thank
Welcome
you.
Home. Welcome home.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
I,
Yes,
fir-
sir.
I first want to say all praises due to Allah. There's no deity worthy of praise but Allah, and Muhammad ibn Abdullah for 1437 years approximately is the seal of the prophets, and no other prophets shall come. I also want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here on your show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and I want to let the guests know that it's truly a blessing to be on the show, to be able to express my feelings and my sentiments about being in prison and out of prison and what's going on with me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You know.
Well, that's why we have you here today, because we want to talk about you. We want to talk about your incarceration, going to prison, your conversion while you was in prison to become the person you are today, what you're doing today, and what your future goals are. So I'm gonna ask you a variety of questions. I ain't gonna put you on the spot because I've been there. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a variety of questions, and they're basically simple questions, elementary. But we want to find out. You went to prison for 27 years.
That's
27
correct.
years. What did you go to prison for?
I went to prison for 187 and a 245, which means a murder and an assault on another person.
Okay, okay. And you were sentenced to how much time?
I was sentenced to 36 years to life.
Okay. And you served how much time?
I served 27 years.
Okay. And you got your case out of what county?
Stockton, California, San Joaquin County.
Okay, okay. And how long you been home?
I've been home approximately 98, 99 days.
Okay, okay, you made it back. You made it back. Okay, now, during your incarceration, you started your time when you was a younger man.
Yes.
Okay, how old were you when you went to
I
prison?
was 33.
33, went to prison. And you started your time at what reception center?
I started my time at the reception center at Tracy, California,
Tracy, California.
what's known as DVI,
Okay,
Due
okay.
Vocational Institution.
Right, okay, okay. And you left from there and you went where?
I went to a place called Calipatria.
Okay,
It's on the Mexican-Arizona border.
okay, okay. How long did you stay in Calipatria?
I stayed in Calipatria about maybe 18 months.
Okay, okay. And then you went where?
Then I went to Corcoran.
Okay. How long you stay in Corcoran?
I didn't stay very long, it was a short stint there. Then I went to Pleasant Valley State Prison.
Okay. How long you stay in Pleasant Valley?
I stayed there about a year and a half.
Okay. So you left from there and you went where?
I went to Solano State Prison.
Okay, okay. And how long did you stay in Solano?
I stayed in Solano about 2 years.
Okay. And then after that?
I went to Soledad. That was my longest stay. I stayed in Soledad for about 14 years.
14 years. Okay. Then you left from from Soledad, and you went.
I went to Tracy. I finally made it back to DVI.
You made it back to DVI. Okay. Now we're on the road.
Okay.
Okay. You frequented a few prisons before you got back to DVI.
I did.
Where you started from. You started DVI. So you made it back to DVI, and you came to DVI, and you went to a prison where you paroled from, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. When you started your time, things was going on in prison. Things was kind of like a rocket and a rolling in prisons.
Yes, it
at the
was.
time, okay. And you had to go into an environment where you had to kind of adjust to certain things
Yes.
and fall under certain things and do certain things to survive.
Right.
Okay. Now, at what time during your incarceration did a bell ring and allowed you to realize that you had to do something different with your life?
Well, when I entered the Calipatria, there was a committee waiting on us because I had came out of Tracy and it was known for a group known as the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family. So most brothers that come out of Stockton, California are considered being organized with the Black Guerrilla Family. So they had a contingency of people waiting on us because we had came out of Tracy because they felt that that was going to be a problem with us when we got off the bus. And when I meant by us, it was a group of people that came out of Tracy. Then maybe about 10 of us the majority of people we picked up from the bus from different institutions, different reception centers, San Quentin is one.
Mhm.
So when I got there, they had these new weapons, you know, automatic weapons. And these new automatic weapons, they clicked them as we came in to make a sign to let us know that we were up under the gun.
Right, right.
That moment is the time that it clicked in that either I was going to die in prison or I had to make up my mind how to survive to get out of it.
Right. So the bell came on when you got the you got this out of there. You had to do something different, and you start working on yourself.
Yeah, well, Calipatria, really.
Well,
The level
Calipatria.
4 is a level 4 prison, and it's one of the high security prisons, and it's a very violent prison.
Right. So at that time, you clicked, and work started. You started putting work in because you wanted to make it back out.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So you start programming. You start going to different programs. You start doing certain things to better yourself because you know eventually one day you're gonna have to get out here. You're gonna go home.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you started programming. You left from there. You went to another prison. You continued your programming.
Right.
Okay. Now let's move on to where you became Muslim. When did you take your shahada?
Well, in 1993, I took my Shahada because I had a dream. I started off as a Christian in the San Joaquin County Jail, and they knew me as the preacher.
Okay.
So I was baptized in the Father and the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
You know, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
I may have baptized over 500 people, including staff.
Okay.
So I started off as a preacher. But while I was I ended up being locked up in Ag Said because the institution said, and in all fairness to the institution, because they're not here to be able to defend themselves, is that they said I had a little bit too much power over the inmates. Because at that particular time I was active in filing grievances, assisting them in legal work. You know, I started educating myself in law.
Okay.
You know, I had to follow the rules and regulations, so this was the process that you had to go through, the grievance process.
Okay.
So they put me in Ag Said, and I had a dream about a black square that had some writing. I dreamed it in color. So when I arrived at Calipatria, when I got into one of the cell blocks or one of the units, or wings as you may say, the individual asked me about my dream. And I explained to him what the dream was, and he said, hold on for a minute. Let me go into my cell and get this picture, and maybe this is what your dream was about. So, you know, I just shrugged it off and said, how is it possible that he would have the picture of my dream? So, you know, I just said, whoa, wow, let's see what goes on with this. So he brought it out and it was the Kaaba. And the writing said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, although I didn't know any Arabic at that particular time. It was an evolutionary process to learning the Arabic language. But he explained to me what it was. And then I started contemplating on the things that I had read in Malcolm's biography, you know, by Alex Haley. And so I just started reading certain things about that, and it just led me into Islam, transformed my life.
So you had a dream about the Kaaba,
Yes, I did.
and you was Christian at the time.
Yes, I was.
And had you ever seen the Kaaba before?
Never.
Okay. And when the brother went in his cell and brought the Kaaba back to you, what did that tell you?
Well, it told me a whole lot of stuff. The dream either had some significance, right? Or it told me that it had no significance at all about what I was doing. I should have stayed on the path that I was on with Christ as the Lord Savior. But I had to be rational. I had to be practical. So the Kaaba said this dream was leading me somewhere. So that's when the doors started open for me to studying more about Islam.
Okay. So you start studying Islam. You know, they tell you to read this book or read this or don't read this or don't read this. Or just stay with this. So you get off course. You start reading the books. You start trying to find out what this dream is, what this black square is.
Right.
You know, so your studying began then, and then it led you to another prison.
Right.
Okay. Now going to the next prison. How did you come into the prison? How did you continue your transformation on to who you are now?
Well, I kept studying.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that had an effect on me was Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, as most people know him as Malcolm X. So he was autodidactic, and by him being autodidactic, he was a student of studying the dictionary. Not only that he studied the dictionary, he studied the diction and the syntax of writing sentences and learning about the language. But he also studied history. And by him studying history, it gave him the insight and the know-how how to become the great speaker that he was.
Now you say autodidactic self-taught.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know what autodidactic is. So when these words come up, I'm gonna try to tell the people, because a lot of people don't know what I didn't know it was until I became autodidactic myself.
Right.
So autodidactic is a person teaches himself everything they need to know.
Right.
Okay. So you left from that prison and you continue your journey.
Right.
Okay. And I'm gonna get back to DVI. You made it back to DVI.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you came to DVI and you continued your journey. You became very instrumental in DVI and certain things.
Well, I hope I did.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, y'all.
Yes.
The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, well, you know.
You dug yourself out of that.
Humbly, hopefully I help other people.
Yeah. So you became useful in a lot of ways. You took on responsibilities, and matter of fact, you took on certain jobs. You know, as people left the prison, you took on certain jobs and fell in them footsteps and failed them.
Right.
You know, you took over the Multicultural Motivation Development Group, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you became the chairman of that program?
I became the chairman of it. Okay. Yes.
And you ran that?
Yes, I did.
Until the time you left, and it's still running.
It's still running. It's a prosperous group in DVI right now.
Okay, that's good. I understand that it became what they call you get, what is it?
LTAG.
LTAG. What is that?
Well, LTAG is that when groups are considered as a group, they start giving what is called milestones. So this cuts into your sentence. It cuts into your sentence where it'll take good time for you off, and it'll reduce your sentence where you can get out earlier in prison.
Oh, really?
So you have to earn certain certificates, and what they have, what is known as chronos. So you know, chronos is that there's a documentation stating that this individual has been through a group for weeks, so many weeks of a period of time, and what the group consists of. You know, if there was like they have a lot of things about cognitive behavior. This is the new thing. The science of cognitive behavior is the way that you think. And generally, in the way you think as a criminal is not the way you think as a citizen. Right. So there's a transformation that we're trying to, like per se, a metamorphosis. We're trying to send these people, or including myself, not excluding myself, into the mind, from the mindset of being a criminal into the mindset of being back a citizen.
Okay. So you're doing a metamorphosis, a transformation.
Yes.
From one form to another form.
Right.
Right. Like the caterpillar, and the cocoon, and
the cocoon. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good thing. That's right on. Now, when you took on that responsibility, you took on another responsibility. You became the Islamic clerk.
Yes, I did.
Okay, over the faith of Islam.
Well, not only Islam, all the faiths that were in there, the Jewish, the Native American, Astral, the Wiccans. There were several other groups.
Okay, I just wanted to get it in there.
Right.
So you became a multi-purpose clerk for all religious.
I guess you could say it was multifaceted.
Multifaceted.
Yeah.
You know, because you was a clerk for all the different chaplains in that building.
Yes.
So you took on a multicultural faith group. So you took on different hats.
Yes, I did.
And like I said, you proved to the board of prison terms, the commissioners, that you was worthy to come back out here. You went in there, you proved. How many times did you go in front of the board of prison terms?
I went to the board of prison terms twice.
You went in front of the board of prison terms twice.
That was it.
Okay, and the first time you went in front of the board of prison terms, how did that become a denial?
Well, I really didn't understand what insight and remorse was at that time. I really didn't understand the causing factors of what made me commit the crime. And by me not understanding why I committed the crime, I didn't really understand anger. One of the things that I said at the first hearing was that I was upset, and one of the board members said I couldn't differentiate between what anger was and being upset. You know, anger, it was the compelling force behind me pulling the trigger. It took me 2 seconds to pull the trigger and 27 years before I got out. So if I could have been able to control that anger, I would have never came to prison.
Right.
So they felt that by me not understanding what would cause for me to pull the trigger, that I may have done it again.
Right, right. So they wanted to make sure that this will never happen again.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to correct that anger, that whatever it is, and get it right. So therefore, this won't never happen. That split second, it will never happen again. So, so you proved that was a factor that you brought to the commissioners, that I got this. I understand what happened, and I understand that this will never happen again.
Right.
Alhamdulillah. So you paroled, gave you, it found you suitable. They found you suitable for parole. Now that second hearing you went to.
Right.
Right. That was a hearing.
Yes, it was.
Right. You went in there, and what was the atmosphere like? You went in there.
Well, one of the things that I thought I found that was peculiar about the hearing was that I was supposed to go at 1 o'clock, and I ended up going at 5:30.
Okay.
And I thought they wasn't going to see me. Generally, the parole board leaves around 5 o'clock. But in this case, they stayed and waited for me. So the atmosphere was, I didn't think it was advantageous for them to find me suitable, but that's just how the parole board is. They never let you know what they're thinking and how they feel about if they're going to let you go, because you got to earn whatever it is that you got to earn to get this parole date.
Sure.
You know, so I didn't think it was adversarial. But I did feel that I had to do everything I did possible to make them believe or make them feel that I was a citizen. So.
Okay. So you felt that you had to make them understand that I'm worthy of being found suitable. I'm worthy of going back to society, be part of the community out there again.
Well, I think one of the turning points in the hearing, and I think if there's anyone out there that sees this or has a son or somebody's incarcerated, they wanted to know what my thinking was. What made my thinking different from the time that I committed a crime, and what made my thinking different then. And then also you have to be somewhat of a clairvoyant. You have to be able to look into the future and be able to see how your thinking will evolve. You know, how my thinking evolved to put me in this position that I'm talking to you at. So the question was, what makes you different from when you committed a crime, and what makes you different from the day?
Right.
So my answer was my thinking. And I believe that was a changing point in my hearing. That was a pivotal thing in my hearing.
Okay. So, yeah, we now we met during my incarceration.
Yes, we did.
At DVI.
Yes, we did.
Okay. And we became real good friends.
Yes, we did.
In DVI. Matter of fact, I left you your job.
Yes, you did.
DVI. I left you a clerk job in DVI. And I turned the helm over to you from the Multicultural Motivation Development Group.
Yes, you did.
DVI, because I felt at that time that you was the most worthiest person to take that job. And you took it, and you handled it well, you know. And I periodically I would get updates on how the program was going, how your job was going as being a clerk, and you did an outstanding job. You got high ratings.
Well,
You know, you got high ratings. And the reason why I'm saying that is that, see, the community, the people that we're talking to in their bedrooms and their living rooms, they need to know who's coming back into their neighborhoods.
absolutely.
They have the right to know that we left one way and we did the complete metamorphosis. We
Absolutely.
did the transformation, and we come back this way, right? So when we walk down the streets, you know, and we have that smile because we have a different smile.
Oh yeah, we have a different panache, walk,
Exactly.
step.
You know, we have appreciation of the things today opposed to what we used to have. And people have told me that I can recognize a person that's done a long time in prison. People have told me this.
Right.
You know, I walk down the street sometimes and people say, I've seen you. I say, yeah, on the show. And they said, you have outstanding guests on your show.
Right.
Continue doing what you're doing, because we know the people that's served prison time opposed to people that been on the street all the time. People been on the street all the time, they don't have respect that the lifers have coming home.
Right.
You see, so we have a different type of respect. Lifers, and that's unusual for us. Lifers, people have done a long period of time to come home and be respected.
Right.
So the respect that we have, we've earned it.
Absolutely.
We've earned it. It's not something that we're just given. The time that you did in prison, 27 years you did in prison, you went to all kind of groups, all kind of classes. You've ran all kind of groups and classes. You've got self-taught. You became autodidactic. You taught yourself certain things in prison. So now you bring it home to where you can apply it out here in free society.
Right.
You know, and that's what you do today. So we want to commend you for going from the cesspool, going into hell, examining everything in hell, because you was in hell, you know, and then they kick you out of hell and then put you back to society, and they say, what you gonna do with your life now? So today, what you do with your life now, you got a whole long life ahead of you. Everything out is for you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. You know, Allah made it possible for, you know, He's creator of all this.
Yes, absolutely.
Did nothing come out just by chance. He's created all this, and everything that you see is for you. You know, so I'm gonna say again, welcome home.
Thank you.
Welcome back to society, and we need you here.
Thank you.
We need the cream of the crop back in society. You're the cream of the crop.
Thank you.
Right. So what we're gonna do today, we wanna talk about some things that people might want to ask questions about.
Okay.
You know, and we want to give them the answers, and I kind of like know what they want to ask.
Okay.
And you know, how do you feel about your crime that you committed?
I mean, I really feel remorseful about the crime. I believe that out of my own ignorance, that I did what I did, but it's not as an excuse. You know, I don't want no one to believe anytime that you take a life that there's an excuse for it.
Right.
Anytime you take a human life, there's something that's connected with you that goes along with losing that life, and it takes it with you. I'm very regretful, but at the same time, I'm mindful to the responsibility to the family, to society, and to my human family as a whole, meaning that I have a responsibility to be a better individual and try my best to give back to society, knowing that I can never recompense for the murder. Of course not. I will never be able to resurrect anyone from the dead.
Right.
And I don't say that in a snide way, or being sardonic, or any kind of form of that way, to making that I'm trying to reduce my responsibility as a human being. But there is a transformation that happens to an individual that lacks the understanding of committing a crime from the individual who understands his responsibility to humanity. At the same time, out of ignorance, because ignorance has its own intelligence, whether you believe it or not. And in that ignorance that I was in, that intelligence only allowed me to go so far in the hood or in the jungle, so to speak. Now that I've been freed from that, because I was in a mental slavery, now that I've been freed from that, I can look back at that incident and see how foolish it was, how senseless it was, how callous it was, So now that I have Islam as my guide and the barometer of my life, how to measure my life, it's a different scenario now.
Right. See, this is why I use it loosely. It's a cesspool. Right? A lot of people don't know what a cesspool is. A cesspool is all ignorance, all waste.
Right.
Everything that means nothing comes out of the body. That's what a cesspool is. So living in the cesspool, we lived aimlessly. Did nothing matter.
Right.
Everything that happened, it happened, and no respect and no whatever. So you left from that type of living, and you experienced the whole thing. You went to hell.
Right.
You went into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, metaphorically speaking.
Yes, metaphorically speaking. You saw everything it is to see.
Right.
Bad. Everything it is to see bad. But didn't miss nothing. Right? And then you say, whoa, my goodness, I lived how for all these years? I didn't. Yes, you did. Because we was able to sit back and watch other folks. And we was able to say, was I like that? No, I couldn't have been. Yes, you was. That was the answer.
Right.
Was I like? Yeah, no, yes, you was. And whenever you say, was I like? Yes, you was. Because we were trying to find an excuse how we wasn't. And that was the cesspool we lived in. So from the cesspool to hell, from hell, and it'd be like Job, they said, the well spit him out.
Right.
Back to society, made it back. So now we got all the tools that's needed.
Right.
Right? All the tools that's needed. This is a great life
It is.
out here. And sometimes, you know, I sit back and I think, I say, man, how can an individual come home to all this? I mean, all this, and then go back. I'm gonna figure it out. I ain't got it yet. I'm working on it. Work in progress.
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, but see, the reasons that people give, I ain't with that.
Right.
I ain't with that. I heard all kind of reasons.
Right.
I can't accept those.
You know, sometimes we, as individuals, have to look at the society as, we can't look at society as a whole. And we can't pigeonhole and throw everybody in this myopic view, meaning that it's one-sided. I'm just narrow view that we have. We have to understand that, and I'm not using any excuse or trying to say that there's an excuse for your deviant behavior once you have done a period of time in prison. But, you know, you're not going to have a 100% success rate.
Right.
You know, you can let out 100 of us, and matter of fact, the success rate is very high. According to Governor Brown's success rate, he's about at a 87.3 in that area success rate. So we're looking at maybe out of every 100 inmates, lifers that are released, only maybe 4 coming back. And even then, they have a design system by a judge. They don't go directly back to CDC. They go in front of a judge if they don't commit a crime.
If they don't commit a crime.
Right, and then they set their arrangement. You know, they are able to give their cases why they did what they did, and then the judge makes a recommendation what they should do if they go back into CDC. So there's never been a 100% rating, perfect rating for anyone in any class of people. So we have psychological problems over a period of time. Sometimes we don't have the support when we get out of prison. I have a wonderful support system. I was blessed with a wonderful support system. I would send letters from different police agencies that wanted me to assist them. Mayors, you know, my system for my family, my loved ones, you. And see, so my system of support is different from them. You know, when I got out of prison, I was rewarded with a wardrobe, over $4,000. You know, with a car, a place to stay. You know, I stay in the Franklin House in Stockton. It's a sober living place. It just barely opened up. And so this place where I'm staying at now is a very expensive place, a very clean place, and I have the support. But before then, you had people that were just going up on the bridges, and they were just going out. So even if you have a support system in place, hypothetically, it's still with the individual who has to be able to have the wherewithal to be able to deal with the situations. Because since I've been out, I've had 2 deaths in my family. You know, one was unexpected, and the one was my brother was laying in a deathbed, but they happened very quickly. So I'm burying people in the last 2 months, in a 2 months period.
I'll make it easy for you.
Right. See, so we can use these type of pressure situations to say, well, I need a drink. I need to use some drugs. Right? Or, you know, I'm having problems getting my driver's license. I can use that. Whatever a little minute thing that may cause there's a bump in the road for you, if you do not have a system in place for you to believe individually, then most likely you will have some problems.
You're gonna fail. So a support system is very much in need. It's necessary to have a support a system in place coming home after a long period of time. Even a short period of time. Because if you go for a short period of time, the work is not even completed. It just barely starts. So you have to have a support system coming in from the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. You got to have something to come back to and be part of you. You know, so I'm going to say this: we got some more to talk about. We got some more to talk about. We got a short time. We only got 30 minutes. We only got 30 minutes. So what I want to do, if you would be willing to come back on the show and be willing to talk some more to me, because I'm part of that community out there, and we want to make sure that they have the questions answered, that you'll be able to give them the correct answers. I'm going to give them to you from the people.
I would love it.
So inshallah, we're going to bring you back and allow you to come back on the show and be in the living rooms and the bedrooms and wherever house, whatever part of the house that they got a TV in. Some way people got it in the basement.
They might have it on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. Yeah. So we want to bring you back and allow you to be part of this here. And I want to say again, my brother, welcome home.
Thank you so very much.
Welcome. It's a pleasure seeing you on this side of the fence, out of the blue. We ain't in uniform no more. You know, all the same color. We ain't gonna have to do that no more. We put on any color we want to put on.
Well, praise be to Allah.
Yes, yes. So we want to thank you, Mubashir, for coming on the show this evening, and we want to thank the audience at home watching our show. We appreciate you watching the show. Tune in on Saturday night at 7 o'clock on Channel 29. This Thursday, we have a show from San Francisco to Chicago. We're talking to Brother Rafi Peterson in Chicago, Illinois. They just signed a budget in Chicago. They haven't had one in 3 years. So we're going to have the brothers on from Chicago talking about the budget that's been signed. For the last 3 years, they cut out programs in prison. So we're going to see what they're going to do about starting the programs back in prison. So this Thursday at 6:30, from 6:30 to 7 on Channel 76. Call in and be part of the live show. So we want to thank you for watching the show tonight. We're going to bring Brother Mubashir back and allow him to continue our journey in conversation with the Department of Correctional Rehabilitation and Parole. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you.